Right, OneDrive is still synchronizing for no reason. So this was our script file for today. I hope you can see my screen now. I hope you are all set to discuss. You can see my screen. I've got your file that we were working on. And now, okay, Mark says yes. Kara says yes. Neil says, okay. So this is our script file that we were working today. And this is our notes file, okay, week6.txt, which we were working. And now, as I said, as I have got this response from some of you guys, that there are a few topics that are a bit of concern, bit of, a bit of, you can say that sort of blurry at times for some guys. So what I'll do is that I'll try to focus on those topics as well, and I'll try to be very slow in some of the topics so that I can make you guys understand what's going on in typical, like in typical situations, what is going on, and how we can work on those kind of things. So so right now our topic of discussion was functions, and we have been discussing these functions, and we have talked about that that there is a behavior of functions in JavaScript that if you do not explicitly return anything, function will definitely return by themselves something. You remember we have talked about those functions, and then we talked about some function expressions. Then we talked about some of the function declaration, and we know that okay, there is something called a function declaration. There is something called a function, uh, you know, um, function declaration, and there is the other one is function expression, and we have talked about the function expressions as well. Okay, so let's move forward. And so there is one thing. I hope you have to just keep that in mind. And I have just talked about that one. I'll just talk about that function again maybe, and I'll just say you and ask you what do you understand. So if I have a function, not let's call it f, rather call it foo, let's function, right? So first of all, console.log was invoked. So you have to keep in mind one thing, which is very important. And what is that? So this is a function expression. Remember, because this is a function expression. Let me just write down over here. Second session code starting here, right? So that we know what's going on. So this is a function expression you might know, and we have just talked about these function expressions a lot. And what we see over here is that a function foo has been defined, but again, it's defined as a function expression. So what is invoking a function? You remember I've talked about if I just say f foo, so I am not invoking this function. You remember if I even put that in console.log, if I just say foo, and yes, so I am just right now doing what? I'm just asking for what is foo, like what is being stored in foo. So for example, now if I want, so for example, script is okay. So what I'll do is that I'll just rename this script because it has been renamed because of I downloaded it from there. So that should be script.js. Okay, I should recognize this one. Yeah. So this you see that it says function foo. Now this is called this is not calling or invoking a function. Invoking a function means that I call this function, as I think William has said. I'll have to check the comment. I think yes. So if you come over here and you give these parentheses, then it will be called as you have invoked a function. Yes, you're right. So invoking a function is very different from using that function. And again, this is same console.log undefined, which is coming from here because function is not returning anything. So you have to keep in mind that what is invoking. Now, JavaScript has another very interesting behavior. Let me show you. I can do something like this. Var foo2 is equal to foo. Quite interesting. And again, we will be needing that in some of these situations. We will be doing that. Glenn, you want to say something? I see you unmuted. I think it's by mistake.
Oh, my bad.
Okay, no problem. So foo2 is equal to foo. I have declared a new function, I've declared a new variable and assigned a foo like function over there. Now, do you understand that if I run foo2 here, like invoking foo2 just right? If I invoke foo2, what happens? You see, I see foo was invoked. It means that it just copies down, the expression part or the body part into this one, into foo2, and foo2 also become a function. And if you want to see what is foo2 specifically, just foo2. So you can just say and check what is this foo2 again without invoking if you want to check. So it will be again a function, right? And you see that it is basically a function foo. Why? Because I have just copied the foo function from this part to my foo2 function. So JavaScript has this interesting behavior that we can even, pass on, like we can even just, pass a function to the other function. We can pass function to the variables, and there are so many things. We can pass a function as a parameter of other function as well. And that would be quite interesting thing. But of course, we will do that shortly. We'll do that later on. But yes, even we can do that kind of things as well. So I think we have talked about a lot about the functions now. And of course, now it will make more sense if we start talking about a program that would basically just collect all of them. And we will start talking about how our functions will be basically working and how our functions will be behaving. And we will just try to talk about that. Make sense, everyone? So we have talked about, again, there is one type of function which is remaining, again, the third type. And that is a very interesting type. That is an advanced type. And by the way, after going through some of the classes, I might switch back and I'll tell you, okay, this is the third type of function. And now we are discussing that type of function as well. And they are called arrow functions. And I think this is the right time today to discuss about these arrow functions as well. So I am discussing about arrow functions, the third type of functions as well, right? Arrow functions is the advanced, or you can say the most latest and greatest form of functions that we use. We try to write as less code as possible, and for that we use arrow functions. And I'll give you example of arrow functions by giving you an example of the same function that we have talked about. So let's talk about something. Var my addition, remember, equal to function that will accept two parameters that returns a plus b. Return a plus b. Okay. Oh, function spelling is not correct. Right? So now this is my addition and function, and we have just a function of addition. What type of function is this, by the way? What type of function is this? Anyone? Is it expression? Is it declaration? Like from the first two that we have already discussed. Is it declaration or expression? Of course, expression. It's very simple because it is on the one side of equal. Now, I would convert that into something called an arrow function, which is, as I said, oh no, Ian, it is not declaration, by the way. Please correct it. This is expression. You see, function is on one side of equality. I keep on asking this question so that you should not you should not forget the concept. Ian, are you getting that? Declaration is not the correct thing. I want you to be very clear over here, right? Okay. Now I want to convert this same function into an arrow function. See what I can do. Var my addition equal to. Now, since my addition has been declared, so I'll just make it a comment so that I can declare a my addition as well. So var my addition is equal to, I will skip out the function keyword. I will just make a parenthesis and I'll pass the parameters. Now, instead of function keyword, if I write this equal to and greater than sign, you know what I mean? And I create these curly braces and I write return a plus b. This is also the good way of doing that. Now, first of all, how to convert a function into arrow function? So it will be an expression function expression, wherein my addition is equal to, so function keyword is removed. There is no function keyword. And rather than function keyword, we are using equal to and greater than sign, and then the body of the constructor. Now, a very interesting concept. We can even skip out, if there is only one statement, we can skip out this one as well. And if there is only one thing that you want to return from a function, We can even take out the return statement from this one as well. Now some guys will start getting confused. This is exactly the same function. I'll just give it name 2, addition 2, and I'll call it, because my addition, I want to keep it open. This is exactly the same function as this one, but do you see how changed it has become? How simplified it has become? So listen, first of all, syntax. The function keyword is removed, only parentheses come, and then instead of function keyword, we have equal to and greater than sign. And if we have only one statement, we skip out these curly braces. And if we have only one statement that is returning, we just skip return and we just write a plus b. Now I'll show you. If I call this function my addition 2 and I pass 3,4. So I'm talking about my addition 2, right? I'm talking about this function. So what should be the answer? 7. Do you see that? Now, if there are multiple statements, and then you have to return something, of course, you will have to make the body. But you understand that if there is only one statement that is running into that one, you just skip out the curly braces even. Is that making sense to everyone? This is called arrow functions, the third type of functions that I wanted to talk about. You see, third type of function, they are called arrow functions. And they are the most advanced form of functions. And these days, we try to use these functions a lot of time rather than the function expression or function declaration. I'll give you more examples. Don't worry about that one. But you understand this one? That bracket sign and this equal to like greater than sign and the statement. If there is a single statement, you just write that single statement over there. Now let's see, I'll catch another function and try to convert that into an arrow function, right? Let me just see that. So as I said, maybe if there are certain statements, we'll just talk about that. So it's exactly the same. So if I say var greeting equal to, I'm just converting that one. Greeting will accept, for example, a value. And what it will do, it will just, for example, not return, it will just do something. It will say var final equal to value dot to uppercase, and return final. It will accept one value and just convert that into uppercase and return that value. You know what I mean? Let me just run that one. So it's just returning, so I'll just run that. So I'll say greeting and I pass Alan with all small, right? Let's see what will come out and what will be printed with that one. Do you have any idea what should be printed out over here? Alan in caps. Why? Because it accepts that value and the arrow function starts curly braces, final is equal to value dot to uppercase, converted the value to uppercase, stored that in final, and final was returned. And even you can even, if I can skip out this one return statement, I can skip out this one as well. And you remember, I can even skip out these brackets here if I just hit save. Whatever value is coming, return that value converted to uppercase. You see how much code is saved now? And let's see if it works fine. It exactly works the same. Are you guys getting that? You see that how much that function has come down? Like, now it was value is equal to value something. You don't need to do that. If you want to return only one thing, you just write it over here and it will just do that job for you. Is that making sense to everyone? Glenn says yes. I'll take another function and I'll talk about that. I hope you are getting these examples. And let me see if my syncing is done. I'm just checking that my syncing is being done or not. It still is not done. I think, I don't know, it will create some problems for me. Anyhow, I'll just do that. Okay, so this is another. Let's take another function and so we can take any of the function, by the way. This is add, this is greeting. Okay, let's take this cats function because it has multiple statements. I know that we'll have to write multiple statements. But anyhow, no worries. We'll just take that cats statement. Now, since I want to create it as an function expression, I'll have to do something. I won't right now. What is this? Now tell me what is the type of function this one right now? This is a function declaration right now. If I want to convert that into one, can you guys just give me this definition, convert it into the arrow form? Can anyone just do that? Just for the practice purpose. This is the function. You need to convert that into an arrow form. And an arrow form function is usually a variable assigned value. So can you convert that into arrow form function quickly? Everyone, just try it out. Okay, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. You have just, Colin given Ian, you have just given the exact thing. Only the brackets, of course, the bracket body will be changed. You are right. So what we need to do is that I'll just keep this function over here as a comment, and I will try to do that as Colin has done. So I'll say var cats equal to, run this one. Okay, so the problem is that Ian, here in this situation we have not taken count as a parameter. We were doing that inside that one, so I don't need to take the count over here. Rather, why? Because inside body I'm trying to do that kind of things. So again, if I just copy exactly the code from the in between. Because count was, it was not a parameter. Ian, are you making sense of it, what I'm saying? If it was a parameter, if it was passed as a parameter, situation would be different. Here, I just need to convert that function into this one. Cats is equal to parenthesis. There is no argument, because there is no argument over here as well. You know what I mean, Ian and everyone? Because if there was an argument over here, I would have passed that argument over here. If there is no argument over there, I won't be passing that one over here. And rest function will be, for the time being, it will be remaining same. We are just converted a function, a declaration function, into an arrow function. Does that make sense to everyone? And its working will be exactly the same. Okay. Function required path. Okay. Function required path. What is that? Okay. Object function required path. Why is it doing that? Just let me check that one. Check that. Okay, it says that function requires a path. Okay, did I leave anything behind? No. Okay, so let me check that. What is it representing in cats? Cats is a function, that's true. What then with the cats of function? There should be nothing with them. Okay, object required function required path, and return mode dot required path. Object. Interesting. It's not calling that one. I'll have to just check that. I'll just check that. Why is there an error? I'll just mark it over here, and I'll check later on. Right, so I'll just check that one. Okay, so if I come back over here and just need to convert another function that we have just defined, or we have just used. So for example, there was a function called square, and what was it was doing? It was just taking a value, and it was doing what? It was returning n into n. So again, if you want to convert that one into the arrow function, so I'll do square, and I'll say 1 equal to, and I'll just mark it over here. A value will be accepted, and again, just n into n. This is my equivalent definition of the square function. You see, only a single line of function. And of course, it's also not of that line, but again, it's just a single line of function that it is accepting. So if I just call this function and I say square 1, and because it is returning, so I'll have to console that one, console.log. And if I say square 1, and if I pass a 5, So it will definitely do what? It will just return me. It will just return me 25. Okay. Console.log. Square one is not defined. Oh, spelling is wrong. Square one, right? You see here, now this function square one is basically returning us the value. Got everyone? And I will be now, every now and then I will use arrow functions and I'll tell you, okay, here I am using the arrow function. And now you can just, work on these arrow functions and you can work on that one. Is that clear to everyone? Now, for this week, I will give you some practice questions for the functions. And definitely you are going to enjoy that because those functions will give you lots of practice. I will have to see that if I have included something related to array as well. And of course, if there is an array, and please, by the way, because the amount of practice, whatever practice you will do, I'll just do that after today, and I'll add that week 6 folder, and there will be some practice questions of the functions of JavaScript, functions in JavaScript. How would you do that practicing of the functions of JavaScript? You know what I mean? So that is something that you will do, and I'll give you some practice questions for today. You might write some arrow functions over there, and you might write some of the functions, and that will definitely give you lots of confidence when you will just create functions. And I'll give you some practice questions of the array as well today, right? So for array and for these values, I will be giving you those values. Make sense, everyone? Let me just see. It is just still doing that one, right? So I will just give you those practice questions for today. Now I would like to talk about, I will continue our discussion, and we are still continuing our discussion on one way or another on functions. And there are lots of predefined functions. There are lots of functions that we can work on. And I'll give you a list of some functions that if you use those functions, you will definitely going to, you are going to be very good in that one. And we will do some of the practice as well. Okay, so let's talk about that. I'll take one example and I will just, work with our example, and I'll just, work with that one. So for example, I say var str1. There is a string one that I'm going to declare over here. And the string is the best sound in this world, comma, is your name. String that we have defined, right? So I'm just, opening up some practice. I'm just giving you some practice questions, right? And I will be solving those practice questions with you, and you will see that, okay, what we want. So this is a string that we have. The best sound in this world is your name. I've intentionally put a comma over here. Otherwise, it does not really make sense of comma. Like punctuation is bad, but I've intentionally given that because I want you to just, play with some of these string functions. There are certain string functions. There are, some very interesting string functions that you will definitely enjoy. And strings and arrays both have very interesting. Rather, I think I'll just, before starting this one, I'll give you some introduction of, for example, strings in JavaScript. So I'll say, okay, we are starting what? Strings and arrays in JavaScript. So as I told you that I will give practice of JavaScript as well. We'll talk about strings and arrays as well, because arrays are very nice, interesting functions that if you use that, your arrays will become so much useful with you, right? So today we are starting the strings and arrays, and let's talk about some of these important features of a string. So a string can be defined in two ways. We can define a string like this, str1 equal to, and I can just say anything, some text. And I can define a string like this as well, var str2 equal to new string, some more text. I want to tell you some very important concept of JavaScript. You remember we have talked about data types in JavaScript, and there was a data type which was called object data type. When we create a string in JavaScript, We can create strings by using one of these two methods. str1 is equal to some text, or str2 is equal to new string some text. Remember, this is a very formal way of creating object data type. What is object data type? Now question rises, what is object data type? And I'll talk about object data type over here. What is object or object data type? You remember we have talked about object data type, and I told you that I will be discussing this object later on. And if you remember, if you go back and if you find out in your, our first weeks of lecture, like, first JavaScript week of lecture, you'll find out that there was an object data type as well. So what is an object data type? An object data type in JavaScript is basically a data type that contains the implemented functions inside that one. What does that mean? I'll just show you. I'll just show you one of the very interesting thing over there. I'll go to my inspector and to console. Now you see here. Now let's create a string over here. str1 equal to in college. I've created a string. If I say str1, hit enter, I'll get the key in college. Everyone get that? This is very simple formula over here. Now, what is an object data type? When I have created this string has a lots of things that have been added on the background with this one. So there are lots of methods that I can use with this string to apply different actions on that one. You remember I just talked about a two uppercase letter, two uppercase. So let's talk about that one. So if I say two uppercase and I call this function and I hit enter. Do you see that? It means I have created one string data type, and this string data type automatically gets the feature, and there are so many lots of functions that are now available with my this data type. Are you guys getting that? So if I again say str1 dot, you see there are so many lots of functions, and there are so many interesting functions: end width, fixed, font color, font size, includes, something like that. So for example, if I say includes, so this is the function. If I say does str1 includes, for example, I want to say that does Keen College includes double L somewhere, and if I hit, so double L, I've just given double L. So you see that it will say, okay, yes, your string includes double L. If I say str includes LO somewhere, so you see that in Keen College there is no LO together. Are you guys getting that? So an object data type is an object, and a string can be created by using these both ways, as I tell you. So you can create an str2 equal to new string, and you can create a string over here, and you say Keen, for example, just Keen. Now this str2 and str1 are almost same. This str2 is a string that is created, and there are lots of functions behind that. You see, first of all, if you just open it up, it will show you, okay, at 0 location there is k. Yet, even when string is created, string is also created sort of like array in the memory. It says the key in k is at 0 location, one like e is at 1 location, y is at 2 location, and I'll try to see that. I'll say, okay, str2. If I want to go to a particular index, I will write a square bracket, and I will write 0 first of all, the first value. What is the first value of my str2? What will be my output? You guys know? The first value at 0 index is k in my str2. Are you guys getting that? It is exactly the same as we talked about an array today. If I say str of 1, what is str of 1? Keen College E is str of 1, str2 of 1. If I say what is this str2 of, for example, 4, I don't know what is that 4. I don't know exactly, but n is at str4. So it starts with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, what is this str2 of 6, for example? For 6, undefined, because Keen ends at 5. And by the way, str2, and if I check at 5 location, because 5 is also looks like not out. So again, it says undefined. It says this is undefined. Keen College is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. In the same way, exactly with the same way, I have str2 dot. There are functions that I can use. So you see, char at, character at. So for example, I say, what is the position, like character at position 2? I want to know. How many of you are understanding what we are doing? You know what I mean? Key in. So chart at, like character at. So str2, go and find out what is the character at second position. Is that making like some sense to all of you guys? It's a very interesting concept that an object data type is one that has implicitly its function defined inside that one. So if I say str2 and let's say, for example, replace, I say replace, and I say wherever you find L in like it's key in, it's only key in. Wherever you find Y, convert it with O. You know what I mean? Hit enter. How many of you understand? Key in has convert into key O in Y. Why? Because Y has been replaced with that one. Wonderful. I hope you're understanding. This is called object data type. Now, let's create another string. str3. I'm creating another string, and I'll create a bigger string now this time. So this is the way to create another string. This is called a constructor, and I'll talk about that. But right now, consider we can create strings like that one as well. So if I say quick brown fox jumps over, something like that, I'm just trying to make a sentence of this one. So I created a string, right? str3. Let's check that. What is str3? str3 is a string that has multiple values from 0 to, for example, 27. Like it has 28 characters. You know what I mean? It has 28 characters, and it has a lots of functions which I can find in this prototype something. There are so many functions. I'll try to play with these functions. I'll come over here and I say str3 dot replace all. So I'll say replace all. So what is the character that is repeating in my let's talk about O. So I say whenever you find O, replace it with X. You know what I mean? So in my str3, see what happens from my string. A quick Braxton, you know. So O has been converted to from in the fox. O is converted to X. Jumps X of X word, etc. 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 You know what I mean? If I just go str3, if I say str3, so it's all back because but I can just check something. I can just implement some function. So there are so many numerous functions over here. So if I want to say that includes, does it include something? For example, in quick brown fox, I'll say okay. Does it include own word? Does it include own? And this own is there because brown has this own word over there. If I say I want to check in a function, I want to check whether this contains, for example, ABC together. So I'll just go and check. It says, oh no, it does not contain ABC together. Is that making sense? Is that making sense to everyone? I want to tell you another very important thing. If I say str3 dot split function, split this function like this, split this string. For example, if I give space, split this string with space, see what will happen. And I would like to ask you that what has happened. Can anyone tell me what this function has done? Split. I have splitted this string with space. What is the original outcome? Yes. Okay, into multiple. That's wonderful. So Ian, let's other come in. Kiara, what do you think? What has happened? What has split done to this function, like this string? Can anyone else let me know what has happened? Okay, that's wonderful. So what it has done, it has taken a string over here, and wherever it has found a space, it has splitted the string into multiple strings, and now it is not a single string, Rather, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 strings together. How many of you understand that? And if you open this up, you'll see that. Okay, is a different string, quick is a different string, brown is a different string, fox jumps over. All of these are the different strings that have been separated by this split. Now, isn't that a very useful thing? Why? Because if you want to split a particular thing from a particular character, you can do that. Now let's do something. If I check str3, this is str3, the original one. If I say str3 dot split, and I split it with O again, as I have done before, split it with O. Wherever you find O, split my string. You see what my string has become. A quick BR has become one string. WNF become one string. X jumps become one string. Word becomes one string. You know the separator here is what? The O is the separator. Whenever you find an O, just divide that sentence. I hope you guys are getting that one. This is very, very strong sort of thing, and I want you to understand these functions, these default functions of string. Right? So if I say str3 dot length, if I just want to find out length. So for example, if I say length, so it says, okay, 28. Yeah, what you say? It replaces the parameter as well as making new string. Yeah, exactly. It's a new string, and rather it will say it will return a new string. Yeah, William, O is gone. O is gone. Remember, it has separated from O, so O has been taken as a separator. O itself will not be there. That's a very important point you have made, William. That's a very interesting point you have made. Anyone else? Are you getting that? Because I will just stop here because this is very important concept, and I want you guys to just understand this very, very important important issue over here, because this is actually there is this is very interesting and important thing, and I would like to just you guys to understand that one. I'll give you ample examples of that. I'll give you I'll do ample practice, but right now I'm just making you understand that an object data type has a associated functions inside that one. Explicitly you do not need to. And JavaScript is so friendly that if you define a string str4 I'm defining, and if you define a string like this one as well, this is a string comma, I can use this comma to understand, something like that. So if I say this is a string completely and str, even when I define this one, I will get all those functions available. So if I say split this one with comma, I want to split this with comma. You see what happened? This is a string. I can use this to understand. Now you see how much string manipulation we can do over here. Why? Because now I can see that there are I can just take out, and this becomes now 3 different strings. One string has been converted into arrays of strings. Make sense, everyone? So these are some string related functions, and I would like to really talk about. Now see, I would like to check str4 dot ends with. Does this ends with, maybe I want to check, does this ends with a dot like period? Let's check that. No, it does not ends with a dot. Why? Because I have not placed any dots after that, understand? You know what I mean? So it does not ends with. So maybe if I can check, or maybe what I can do, I can just place a lots of things. Is the split a new object? It's basically yes, that's a very good question, William. It's not a new object. It's a new array rather. It will create a new array where there will be 3 strings rather than 1 string. So it has an array of 3 strings now, and you can see that this array contains at 0 location. This is a string, and now you can manipulate this for your own good. You can just find out one thing, something in between that one. Are you guys getting that? Because if you understand that, then I'll move to an example that I was starting over here, and then we'll work about that. So you understand string created this way or this way are same, and they becomes an object. An object data type is one. An object data type is one. An object function functions implicitly. It has implicit functions. I've not defined them, but I can use those functions because they are already there when I have created an object string. You know what I mean? It has automatically got the values over there. Now, I'll give you some nice practice of this one, because I want you to just give some things at today, and then to tomorrow we'll start from this point onwards. Now see, I define a string str equal to the best sound in this world, comma, is your name, and I'm not placing a dot. Now listen the purpose what I want to do. I want to write a function that adds a dot or a period after the string. Is everyone getting the purpose? Understanding the purpose? I want to write a function that adds a period or that adds a dot at the end of the function. Got everyone? I'm not hearing anything back from anyone. Okay, right. Okay. So let's just start a function. Function add period. I will call it function add period. And I will say that it will accept a string randomly. Some string will come to it, right? Some string will be passed to it. Now this function will accept a string and return that string with a dot included, right? Very simple. I'll come over here and I'll say return. And now if I use if I can do one thing, s plus inverted commas dot. Everyone makes sense of it? Very simple. Whatever string has come, take that string and just add a dot after towards the end and return it. Let's check this function, run this function. If I call this add right, so I'll have to call console it, because console.log, and if I call add period, and I pass a function ln, which does not have a dot towards that. First of all, I'm passing ln. Now, what will be my output? Everyone knows about that? What will my output? See here. Yes. Oh, add period, not add period, add period, right? ln with a dot. Everyone makes sense of it? I passed ln, it converted into ln dot and returned to me. Are you guys getting that? I need a thumbs up, then I'll move forward, because this is very important and I want you to understand that one. Okay. If I pass this str to this function, see here, console.log, and I pass add period, and I pass str. You know str means I want to pass that string. No big deal. I'm passing this string now too, right? So what will be my output? Of course, you can guess. I don't want this ln1 now to run, so I'll just make it a comment. Run that. Very predictable output. You understand? Very predictable output. It has just taken the string and added a period towards the end. Everyone is with me? Because I'm about to ask a question shortly. Everyone is with me? I've just passed a string. The best sound in this world, comma, is your name, and it just returns with a string, with a dot. Now the problem is, it might happen that that string already has a dot. If that already has a period over there. Now let's run this program. William, be very active, because I would like you guys to just come up with a little code shortly. If I run this code now, the problem starts. The first problem is that since I had already a period after the name, when I pass this string to my function, it has embedded one more period and it is returning me 2 dots, which looks odd. A sentence should not be like that. There should be only one period. Now my big question over here is, can you guys try? It's just for practice purpose. If you are not able to do so, of course, you should write, I don't know, I am not able to do. But can you guys try to see that if the string which is passed to it, if it checks that whether there is already a dot towards the end, if it checks that yes, there is already a dot, I would not return the string with dot. I will return the string simply by itself. But if there is no dot, I will add the dot and then return that one. Can you guys try that out, or should I discuss that first and then give you some more example? What's your idea? Anyone? Suggestion? I need suggestion. Should I do that for you and give some other question to you, or you will try that out? That there is a string that is coming to function, and you need to check whether its its last character is a dot or not. If it is dot, don't add a dot. If there's not dot, just add a dot and then return. Add a period and then return. Should I do that, or you guys will try that out? Suggestion? I need suggestions. It would be an if statement inside the function. Yeah, David. Yeah, might be. I don't know. Whatever you do, I need your reply, your solution. David, are you trying that out? Are you trying that out? I'll be happy to hear if someone is trying, even though I'll discuss that. But I just want to make, I just want to shake your heads. Okay, so just listen to that. I'll do that. Okay, no issues, no issues. Let's do it this way. I'm doing this right now, and then you guys can do that. I'm removing this for the time being. Now see here. So would you just do a -1, like would you Python find the last argument to see? Oh, that's wonderful. Now see here. No, that's not the way, Ian. Here it's a bit different. See here, Ian. If s dot ends with dot, return s. Return s plus dot. How many of you understand that? I hope you guys are getting that one. Add period. Check the if s dot ends with dot. If it the same thing that you are talking about -1, and with dot, return s. I don't want to add anything. Else, if it is not the case, it means that it's not ending at dot. Just go and return s plus dot. How many of you understand that one? Let's first of all run that one and see that if it is giving a 2 dots now. No, it's giving a 1 dot now. And how about if I pass this without a dot? I've removed the dot. If I pass this now, you see it still comes with the dot. How many of you are understanding this one? We have started some real programming now, right? Real programming, which I want you to really understand that how is it going. And we'll be very slow. I've just started this, and I'll give ample time to these functions and things like that. I have seen many thumbs up, but I'm still waiting. Darren, what do you call the modifiers placed after dot, like ends with? What do we call the modifiers placed after dot, ends with? Oh, these are functions, string related functions, Glenn. These are related functions that we can implement on a string. You are talking about ends with, starts with, there is a starts with, there is split, there are so many kind of things. You know what I mean? So they are the predefined functions. Exactly, they are the functions too, and they are the predefined functions. We have not created. We have not created them. It's basically something that JavaScript has already done for us, and we are just using it for our good. Right. So now, all of you guys understand that one? If s dot ends with dot, return s, else return s plus dot. William, there is so much a shortcut way of doing this as well. Should I tell you? I make it comment, and I'll leave it because I would like you to just see that comment as well. If I write return only, return, and check the condition, and with dot, put a question mark, and write s, write s plus dot. This is done. Same function, same body. Your brain will all now spin more. Like Glenn, return s dot ends with. You remember ternary operator? Condition Value if true, value if false. It's exactly the same function. You see it whenever there is no dot, it adds a dot. If there is a dot, it does not add the dot. It keeps one dot always. William, isn't that quite more interesting now? Okay, a single line can do what I and actually, ternary operator is the replacement of if and else. You remember I told you that actually ternary operator is basically the alternate for if and else. If and else. Now, are you guys understanding that one? There are so many other ways of doing that, but I'm just telling you first of all this one. Mark says yes. I would like to have some more like feedback from the others. Yes, William, but what I'll do, William, today what I'll do, I will give you some names of the functions and references of their internet, like where you can get them, and I will give you some practice questions and you will try them out. Now, this is not the only way. I'm just telling you this is one of the another way of doing that same thing. S dot ends with S. Now, there is another way of doing that one. So just I'll tell you one or two ways of that. Now this function is doing not doing anything, and I just added this one. There is another way of finding that one. So let's think about it. If you have a string, you want to check the last letter of this string, whether that is dot or not. If I know the index of that letter, the position of that letter, I can find out that what is character at that position. So for example, this is the last position that I want to check, and I want to check that last position is a dot or not. You know what I mean? So if I want to find out the last position, I'll say var last position is equal to. Now, how can I find out the last position index number? Does anyone know the formula of finding out the last position's index number? Last pos is equal to, how can I find that? William, yes, that's wonderful. So William, see here, how would I do that? I will say, okay, whatever s has come, calculate its length and subtract -1 from this one. Length -1. Remember, Ian, because it starts with 0. Remember, you know what I mean? Because so this starts with 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 2, I don't know, and this reaches to this point. So length -1, not length. Last position is equal to length 1. Now see here, I will now use this last position. See here how I would use that. And by the way, first of all, if I show you something, console.log and char at s dot character at last pause. I will find out what is the character as last pause. First of all, I'm just showing you that. And again, right now what I'm doing is that yeah, just let's do that. So see here. Okay. So do you see that since it is not returning anything, so it's staying undefined. But do you see that last character is coming out as E? Do you see that character at last position? What is the character at last position? It says that last position character is E. You know what I mean? If I put a dot over here and I run that, a dot. You see that dot is coming over here, last position character. I hope you understand that. I've corrected last position. How I have calculated whatever string is coming, take its length and -1 that one. So that will be the length of the string. Because why? Because it starts with 0. And so it means that last character will have this index number s dot length -1. Are you getting that? Now, if I just rather than consoling, I do the same thing. Return s dot char at character at last pause equal dot. Last position character is dot question mark. Yes, what should I do? Return s colon s plus inverted commas dot. How many of you understand this one? I've calculated the last position and find out the character at the last position, which is if it is equal to dot s colon s plus dot. So return s or maybe return s with the dot. So if the last position character is a dot, just returns s as it is. And if the last position character is not a dot, convert string, embed string plus a dot and then return it back. I hope that's making sense to you guys. It's a bit, I'll give you ample practice of this. Don't worry about that one. But of course, I would like you to just, give this idea that okay, there are lots of functions, there are lots of things that might be available. So is that making a little sense to everyone? This one s.char@. So there are lots of things to find out. There is another way of doing that same thing. You might be thinking, how many ways are there? So last position is calculated. If I say s of last pause, the character at last position equals dot. Again, the same thing that I was doing with that one. Return s at last position is equal to dot, question mark s plus dot. Strings last position equals dot. If it is equal to dot, return s. If it is not equal to dot, s plus dot. Now, how many of you say that I'm understanding 60 to 70% of all those functions? And again, as I said, I will give you some good practice of that. And these string functions I'll discuss tomorrow, and I'll give the string like functions practice question tomorrow. But the functions that we have talked about, I'll give you functions practice for today, not string functions. The default string functions which are there. So how many of you are in that category of above 50%? Can I get a thumbs up? Or if you are all about less than 50%, I'm not worried about that, because I'll tomorrow again start fresh with this idea. Okay, basic concept is under Mark. That's wonderful. Wonderful. That's a wonderful thing, Mark, because if you understand the basic concept, of course, you have got the same mark. Yeah, that's wonderful. So Kara, you're not really supposed to understand everything today, and I will just try to make you more understand tomorrow. I will just start from this part. So today, just do one thing. Just do me a favor. The practice questions that I'll share with you guys, maybe lately after our meeting, there is a faculty meeting that has already started. So after the meeting, I'll share some questions with you, and you guys have to just try to attempt those questions. Those questions will not be from this topic, like this last position, char@, and this will be from the functions that we have discussed from the first part of our class. But try to do them so that you are familiar with the functions, and then we can move over here and we can just talk about these functions and all those things. Right. So I'm stopping here, and I know that it's a bit too much today, but of course we will just talk about these strings and all those functions, and you're really gonna enjoy that one. Right. So right now I won't be able to take any questions, of course, because I told you that the meeting that has already started, and I have to just go and jump and join that one. So I will just join there, and thank you very much everyone for joining in.